Hi, this is Mark Freeman talking to you from the heart of Delray Gallery. It is Art Walk down here with Michelle Cancro and Susan McKenna-List, an artist here, but Michelle, Director of Sales.
Okay, so normally when we do the art walk with the Brooklyn Cafe TV, we have several of our artists come through and we share their new pieces.
Come on.
Today we would like to talk more about the process, about how they paint, which is what's so spectacular about the fact that some of our artists have studios here. So the first one who's going to talk about what she does and how she does it is Susan McKenna-List. She's going to explain her process of how she works as a plein air painter. After her we'll have Phoebe Perry, and after that we'll have Deanna
Radistosian.
And there we go, and that's why we have Mark.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to step out. I'm going to let Mark take over here, but we really are going to let Susan paint, and you can kind of get the whole concept of where the process starts.
A quick plug for Michelle. Michelle is our Director of Sales. Michelle is great at meeting with folks and finding out what flavor you like. And she will even, I guess, home show is what you're calling it?
Home show, yeah.
Is actually, she'll gather a bunch of pieces of artwork down and load them up and come down to your place, which is, I think, is a great asset.
Yeah, well, I'll do a free consultation.
And for the artist.
Yeah, I'll do a free consultation to any of the homes for the clients for any of the artists.
Well, I think it's a real asset to the gallery here, and we're glad you're with us.
Oh,
and also an artist. Great work.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Well, I'm going to pass it off to you, and
actually, go ahead
Susan,
and,
we're going to let you start and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we
got a monkey back here.
Start painting.
Hecklers.
We're going to ignore the hecklers back there.
It's good to have a crowd down here. Absolutely. Susan, welcome. We're kind of sweet mates. You're
Yes.
up the road from where I am here at the Heart of Delray Gallery. I know I've been fascinated with your work. You seem to have quite a variety. What's your muse? What's your impetus?
What is my medium?
I don't know what your medium is, but yeah.
Right. Well, my main medium, anyway, is oil.
Correct.
And sometimes I paint in acrylic, which is what I'll be doing tonight.
Gotcha.
I started painting in my early 30s when I thought I wanted to keep my children away from the TV. And I was bitten by the bug as an English major who learned everything about what makes bad writing. I decided I wanted to paint and just learn what I could, but still be open and not be critical. Go outside the recipes a little bit. So I started taking classes, drawing, painting, all of that, and then moved to California and ended up painting with a plein air group. And plein air painting is French for on location painting. And it differs from studio painting because you load up your gear, you go out that day, and you try and capture the spirit of that day.
I think it's very challenging. That's one thing I do not do. I am a studio painter, and I was going to mention the plein air.
Right.
It's really, I know it was a big fashion, 100 years ago, but it seems to really be gaining a great deal of momentum right now. I know there's a group here. I guess you're a member of, probably, aren't you?
I am a member of the group. Yeah, there's quite a history in the San Francisco Bay Area where I got hooked on it. And that tradition has spread, and then Eric Rhodes with his Plein Air magazine has tried to open the world to the joys of being out in nature and plein air painting.
I guess I would find it a little, I don't know, a little challenging just to have somebody else there critiquing your work. While I do so many things, and my work is definitely an in process the entire time, But obviously you get past that, much like public speaking.
Well, what happens is, luckily for me, when I first met the group that I painted with, they said, don't worry, it takes about 2 years to get used to painting on location. And after 2 years of carting your stuff out and going home without a painting, you finally say, I'm going to get out of my own way, leave the critic at home, and cover the canvas.
I understand well.
And it's good for people who are too critical of their work to force you to just commune with what you're seeing and feel it.
Gotcha.
And you don't strive for the same perfection as you do with a studio painting.
Gotcha. Huh.
And then there are purists and not purists.
Sure, of course.
And a purist will not touch that painting when they bring it home.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Are you a purist?
I was.
You were. Very good. We're all works in progress. I know that you're going to be doing a piece tonight.
I am.
We've got some gallery folks back here. Again, down at the heart of Delray Gallery, 1440 North Federal. This is an incredible gallery. 11,000 square feet of space, 75 plus artists, great energy, great spirit, as you see. Susan, you're going to be doing some painting.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and get out of the way. How do you want to handle her miking? Just let her.
Well, I'll talk for a minute about the painting I'm going to do. I have on my iPad here, which now is the great facsimile in life, a photo of an 8x10 painting that I did from memory. It's called Last Light Hillsborough Bridge. And as my husband and I usually go careening over the Hillsborough Bridge to go to happy hour at the Cove, the sun is usually setting right into our eyes and blinding us. And I ended up painting this very wild kind of abstract painting. I don't know how we can see that.
If not, we'll do a zoom line. How about that? This is actually one of your works?
Yes, this is a little 8x10 that I've wanted to do large. And I will take that opportunity tonight to start the 36 by 36.
Very good.
And with working in the studio, I'm also enjoying experimenting with acrylics and just trying to be freer and more intuitive. So I am just going to throw some paint on and see where it takes me and work for the life and liveliness of the clouds down here and the sun and the strong contrast with sunset.
Very good.
That's
We'll let you paint. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to let you go ahead and have at it for a few minutes. And you want to hang on to the mic?
Okay,
If you
whatever
pick
you
up-
want.
if you wanna,
Okay.
Can you just...
And I will paint.
I'll tell you what, we'll just lay it down there beside you. Is that right? I don't think you can see that. Perfect. Please. One of the things we were dealing with tonight was styles. And I know that Diana, who's coming on later, is a realist. Phoebe, how would you characterize yourself?
I would say I'm, at the moment, a little bit of everything because I'm getting back into painting after not painting for 12 years. But like Susan, I was a painter my whole adult life.
Gotcha.
And I ventured away to be on the administrative side of the art world. And I was a consultant to art galleries and private clients and museums. And then I retired. And so I decided this is what I'm going to do
Very good.
for the rest of my life.
Okay, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that you made your life in art.
I have.
I
Yes.
was not aware of that. Yes.
Yes, I have. And now when I arrived here, I sort of gave myself a lecture for about a month. And I said, all right, Phoebe, just show up and start painting. And I did.
Yeah.
And in the last 8 months, I've painted everything. I've done abstracts, I've done collage, I've done realism, I've done everything. But I'm just now feeling as if I'm where I want to be.
Gotcha.
And Susan and I are very different painters. I don't do the plein air
Yeah.
because I would find myself so distracted by what's out there. So I am very much a studio painter. And when I get in my studio and I paint, I'm in another world.
Yeah.
And I just do it. And all of a sudden, 4 hours go by and it feels like 10 minutes.
Absolutely does. I know exactly what you mean. Leslie said that's the only time I'm quiet. I am rather Jack Russell, and so you're right. Being outside and seeing a frisbee fly by would have me off on a tangent.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
I
understand.
just, it's so interesting to me the different ways that artists work, and I just can't do what she does. But I
But you could if you wanted to follow that history, right?
I think I'm equally as spontaneous, but in a very different way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's all. It's just whatever floats your boat.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and you know, I'm doing this. I have a degree from 35 years ago. I was in advertising. I'm doing this for my profession for the past 2 years now, 2.5. And I mean, I know what you mean about finding yourself. I've done everything from palette knife work to splatter to, I mean, you know,
Me too.
just trying
Yeah.
to, I'm trying to scratch my own itch. And one of the things I really find fascinating is when something I've done for myself does touch somebody and it has an opportunity to be an integral part of their life. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very touching. But,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'm really being pretty hedonistic about this. I'm doing this for myself. You you know, I like the opportunity to touch someone's life and to make sales, but I'm kind of exploring and finding my way. You know, so I get you totally on that. Susan's got a plethora. You've been painting for a profession for how long now?
Professionally, since I guess I'm trying to think, mid '80s.
So, I mean, a good long while.
Well, yeah, my career started to really come together probably late '90s.
Well, Susan, I knew when I first saw your work, you had some marketing materials, but also just your style and your overall portfolio. You had a number of pieces that, I mean, from the Coney Island piece to the pond piece to the grandkids. You've really got a nice array of subject matter.
May I talk to you this way?
Of course.
Yeah, well, moving was really pretty traumatic because painting in the different light is an adjustment.
I'll bet.
So
Yeah.
there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was.
Grandkids?
Grandkids, yeah, 2 granddaughters.
And you like
I know
featuring
what I
them.
wanted to say with Phoebe talking about changing. My mentor said that artists tend to change every 10 years. And she went from watercolor to asphalt abstraction to plein air. And I noticed some plein air painters who are entering that field now are doing the kind of work that we're doing, the kind of work I'm starting to do. So I think, you know, you kind of learn, you meet the challenge, then you say, been there, done that, now I want to try it in a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Is Phoebe on camera? Yes, she is, isn't she? I believe you are. Yeah, guys, make sure. Yeah, I realized you were. Phoebe's coming up, actually, but, you know, really, yeah. Please.
I must say I'm laughing as I'm painting, which I usually do. And I taught painting. I had a studio gallery in the Bay Area for 6 years. And I taught plein air painting mostly to beginning students, and then as they improved, they'd move to the mentor.
Yeah, very good.
And I remember telling my students all the time, because it was more the school of make a stroke and put it down. And I remember telling them, no scrubbing.
Yeah.
I am now becoming the queen of scrubbing. That's all I have to say.
What's a way to spread pigment with a different kind of handle, with a different kind of light? Pardon me, I'll put this down. Don't do that? Okay. Gotcha. Very good.
Perfect.
I know that I had actually been talking to my wife Leslie recently about plein air painting, and you've got quite a tackle box that has an easel. I mean, is this your setup for plein air? Sorry, yeah.
No, not my
Okay,
setup
I
for
didn't think
plein
so,
air.
yeah.
No.
It's
For
plein air?
plein air, Pleinair,
Okay,
just means
right.
outdoors.
Okay, gotcha. But I was just looking at. I mean, you got to have a tackle box with an easel. I mean, it's quite a setup.
Carting the stuff around is a problem, and everybody's always trying to reduce the amount that they're carrying and work with a limited palette. But I got spoiled with my car full of paints, and you know, I want to have the color I want when I want it. I use the excuse that I don't have time to mix my colors. Some painters love to set out a palette, and Pamela in the gallery here was talking about taking an hour just to mix the colors and get her palette arranged.
Wow.
I'm just like straight out of the tube,
Yeah.
mix it on the canvas, and yeah.
That's why I
No
struggle
time,
to
no
mix.
patience.
Yeah, I understand. Yep.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yep. Well, tell us, since we've got you here, tell me about your work. I guess what your muse, what your impetus for doing so is, and
Well, I moved to Florida a year ago, almost exactly, and I never really spent any time down here. And one of the things that I noticed right away were the
I've
clouds.
got to cut real quick. Sorry. This is Dan Cienciotto. Cienciotto. He is the Cienciotto. Okay. This is the brains behind this operation. He is the man with the vision who has given us all a place to work and to share this energy with
Exactly.
each other, but also with the public.
Bravo.
I wanted to at least acknowledge you since you were in
Thank you, Mark. It's Mark.
Yeah, it is Mark. All right, Smarty. They're laughing because we have this boom, boom at the gallery entrance, and I say, it's Mark. So anyway, sorry to cut you off, but I had to at least
No, that's all right. So I was just talking about how obsessed I came with Florida clouds, and coming from the Northeast, For me, especially in the summer, the clouds are mountains. And I was enthralled by what the clouds do and what they look like. And so I have started a series on Florida clouds. And as I said earlier, I paint very differently from Susan, especially right now because I'm doing very large canvases. I'm doing, 48 by 48 canvases. So I'm doing these 36 by 36 inch studies.
Right.
Before I go to the big one. And they're often the bigger one is often very similar. But the one I'm doing right now, I think it's going to be very different from the study that I did. So, as Susan said, there are so many different ways to paint. I go into my studio. I could not do what she does. I would be so distracted with plein air. I just couldn't do it. So I go into my studio.
You do paint photographs also, right?
And I get completely
Absorbed.
Yeah. I don't notice anything around me. People walk in my studio and I jump.
Does
because
music
I
also
hear
play a part in that meditation?
Well, yes, I play smooth jazz.
Right.
If I play some.
That's the problem. Hold on, Susan, you have about 2 Red Bulls before you start painting, right? And you're all ready. She's playing smooth jazz. She's calm.
You should hear them.
Excited, Phoebe.
No.
You need to be excited when
Well,
you're
here's
painting
what
at the Delray
happened.
Gallery at 1440 North Federal Highway. Where's the camera? Over there.
Here's what happens when I do that. When I play the old disco music. I mean, I went to Studio
Stand
54.
up. There
I
you
was
go.
like,
There you go.
I was a
I'm gonna
regular
get
at
you roller
Studio
skates.
54. Okay.
Come
I
down
was
to the Delray Gallery. You can see Phoebe on roller skates. She will be painting for you tomorrow. Very good. Come down. Back to it's Mark.
Oh my God.
The people I paint with always would, because I listen to
That's
very animated music.
I
And really, to
can,
not have
I
my
can,
music
but
right
all
now.
of a sudden I'm all absorbed in the music, and
Well, that's what you have to do.
Well, I
and
like
that's
to
how
do-
that's
I
how
don't
being
know.
outside
It
with the
varies.
music going.
Interesting.
Yeah.
varies.
So we agree though that music is a very large
yes,
component.
and I play all kinds of music. It depends on what I'm trying, what's going on.
Well, same with me. Generally, if I'm outside, I really rock it because I have to be fast. If I'm doing a figure in the studio, then I play something quieter. Uh-oh. She's going to stare.
Composing a portrait.
I don't
Absolutely.
want to hurt her.
I know I find myself,
I don't want to splatter her.
I do the same thing, and I'm a terrible guesstimator of time. I'll say, honey, I'm going to work for
I'm
another
sorry.
hour, and 4 o'clock will roll around.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
I'll put on some light jazz or some classical and just truly
Zone out.
fall into
Yes,
the piece.
I-
I mean, just,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly.
And I find myself painting in such a meditative state that honestly, I've looked back at pieces and thought, well, there were some pebbles in the water, and I thought, darn, those look really good. Wait, I did that? I mean, and then you start wondering at what point in time
Yeah.
you actually executed that mark. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, yeah.
There are lots of different methods to the madness, and I think that whatever works for you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is great to do is to totally change it up, and I do
So
that.
naked and Prince is what you're saying.
I do that. Yeah.
Well, that might be
Well,
low.
not just music. I mean, in how you paint.
Yeah.
And I took some courses this summer, and just in mediums that I'd never worked in before, just stretch, and that's very healthy. And challenging yourself is important, and because you can just kind of get into a rut, especially if you're selling.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, this works,
Yeah.
this works, so I'm just going to keep doing this. But that's not really why I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's not why I'm doing it either. I mean, I've had success. I sold 2 different pieces that were the forest, the lights coming through it. And you're right. Part of you thinks, well, shoot, I need to make some sales. Let's do some more of those. But I can't. It's not enjoyable if I'm mass producing something.
Exactly.
You know, I have
exactly.
to feed the emotion at the moment, and
Yeah. Yeah.
And my wife laughs if I fall asleep with the Science Channel on. I have a nebula or a quasar come up. Fall asleep with a beach show or something like that. Then I go to sleep with wake up with a sunrise in my head, or It's funny because actually we talk about different techniques. The other day I saw a Crayola has come out with a crayon melter. It's actually a device that actually takes crayon and melts it in the process. And I had done some batik in the first parts of my career, and actually thought, ooh, that sounds like it could actually have some pretty cool application.
Yeah.
And so I'll have to admit, part of me was kind of thinking, I know it's meant for kids, but part of me thought, I'm still a kid, and it sounded like an interesting something to add to a piece. You know? So,
Yeah. Well, we all are, hopefully. Still a kid.
Absolutely.
In some respects. I think that's important.
I'm so grown up.
I am
I don't
gratefully,
believe that for 1 second.
I am gratefully.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
How long do you?
No, I am definitely not grown up. I try occasionally.
You know, I
but-
realize Jean is also in camera, and I had introduced you, and that's wrong. Jean Bilbo, she's one of our artists here. Oh, why not? Jean is actually kind of front and center. I know you're kind of the front person oftentimes when people walk in, and Michelle's busy or Dan's busy. Huh? No comment. Oh, no comments. Okay. Jean is. I think you've changed a lot since you've been here as well.
Yeah, I have been painting for a long time, and I basically did realism. I like to do architectural pieces, mantles, doorways, and when I moved to Florida 2 years ago, my 27-year-old wanted a painting, and he said, I want it abstract, and I said, I don't know what that is. And he said, and I was challenging myself when I moved here to do a painting a day. So I was doing very 8x10s in my condo, and when he'd walk in, he'd say, Mom, no more flowers. No, and I said, well, you're going to have to show me the kind of painting that you want. And that was my first abstract, was a painting I did for him. And now as I've looked at the people around me and the things they're painting, I'm challenged to like try it. So part of it is that I get bored.
Yeah.
So that's why I've committed myself to painting because I'm here so much, probably at least 20 hours a week. And when you practice, you get better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You get better. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I find that I was when I first started out, I was doing literally 5 a week. I mean, I just was and painting all the time. I mean, painting till 3 in the morning, oftentimes. As my archive has grown, I have only so much room against the wall. By the way, it's Christmas, and I'd be glad to help you with your Christmas wish list. Like all of us would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on in.
This is not only a showing gallery, it's a selling gallery. It's got great energy here. You really need to come down and check it out if you've not been down here before. Hi there. How are you doing? Susan, anything you want to say about this is...
It's just beautiful.
It's looking better.
It's abstract.
No, it is. It is. I love this.
Okay.
I can see this.
I'm just trying to find my way around, just relying on what made this small painting successful. So it doesn't take much to read what's going on.
Yeah.
And because I'm not a super realist, I want to keep it as loose as possible.
You're putting down basically anchor points, things that were key. in
Kind
the
of,
overall
yeah.
composition.
So I'm just trying to feel my way around.
Sure.
Then once I get the fellow covered, then I'll be able to work with it.
Was there any, I say this
Yes.
leading you, the background itself, the way it was modeled, why?
My mentor was a watercolor painter before oils,
Right.
and she had a different approach. She painted on a blue, and you know the underpainting is always different. I found that if I painted on a dark green and then started with my lightest light, I'd have the value range set up at the get-go.
Gotcha.
And then the rest of it is a piece of cake.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
especially with painting outdoors, there's so many shadows, so many greens. So normally the kind of demo I would do would be to start with the white on the dark background so you could see that's the painting right there. The rest of it's gravy.
Gotcha. Interesting.
This is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it helps me. So I made this one lighter because I'm working thinner
Gotcha.
with transparent paints. So I'm going to have to work hard to get that covered up.
Oils as well, right? Are these acrylics?
Pardon?
These acrylics or oils?
Well, these are acrylics tonight.
Gotcha.
And I can't say that I'm an expert with acrylics.
Yeah.
And
I love oils. That was the first thing I did. But I work so thick and so unctuously, I need a place to have a piece lay flat for a couple of days, or it'd be a running mess.
Yeah.
And so I switched over to acrylics. I've really enjoyed it as well. They're quite different. I mean, they really are. You both are oils, right? I mean, in terms of your first love.
I do paint in oils, and every time someone walks into my studio, they warn me.
What
I mean,
about
they
the
say,
smell? Hey, God, get up
I'm
here.
really worried about your lungs, or I'm really worried about your... I have a fan. The ceilings are really high. There's good air circulation. I don't know what to tell you. I've tried acrylics. I've done a lot of work in pastel. I've actually done pastel paintings with turpentine so that it becomes
Oh yeah, that's
an
nice.
oil wash.
Right.
And like a watercolor, but it's an oil color. I just can't let go of my oils. I can't do it.
I never used terps. We were just straight linseed oil.
Yeah.
And I was thick paint pretty much out of the tube. Stayed away from terps.
Yeah.
For health reasons or just because it didn't?
Well, I saw so many people became allergic to it. I thought, well, I don't want to go there.
No.
Plus, I
No.
like a rich paint quality.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit different to work with acrylics. In fact, sometimes now I do an acrylic underpainting and then I beef it up with oil.
Sure.
And that may be the way I work in the future,
Yeah.
certainly with the larger canvases.
The terpenoid, which is what I work with, is not my vehicle. It's not my medium. I have a blend of
Oh, you're using a
sand
more
oil,
serious
Demar,
thing. Uh-oh.
varnish, and other things.
Okay,
so
very
I stay.
traditional.
Excuse me.
Very traditional.
Yes,
Yeah.
very.
Okay.
So I stay away from turpentine and those solvents as much as I can. But yeah. Anyway, I love where this is going.
I do too.
Do you? Thank you. It is.
I do,
have
and
to
I'm
say-
really interested in what you do with the background because I just approach a totally white canvas.
Totally white.
Yes, I mean, there's the canvas, and but you
Well-
do. This is very interesting to me.
But it can be great to work with the whiteness of the canvas too.
Yeah.
But I think outdoor, especially painting outdoors, it's better to have a toned canvas because the
Yes.
white will blind you and you don't notice, but you end up leaving. You might have these little white pinpricks.
Yes.
Where the paint hasn't covered.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've never painted outdoors, so I don't have that problem.
Okay, well, we'll step out next week and you can say you've done it.
Uh-oh.
A life drawing teacher back in college said always start with a medium gray or medium tone because you can draw whites and darks out of the same background. And so, I mean, it's kind of interesting the way that the
Right, well, the
man
standard,
back here is Lee Berlin, also an artist here at the Heart of Delray Gallery.
Hey, Lee.
What's up?
Yeah.
Sorry.
About what?
About anything.
Does he want to
We're-
talk?
We're talking about styles
We're talking.
and process.
Talk about your style while I paint.
And then she can paint.
Back to the camera, actually.
You got to turn around.
Yeah, come over here.
Here,
Come
come
over
here.
here.
Come here.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
sit here.
We were really talking about process. I mean, Susan is a plein air painter as well
Yes,
as
she
other
is.
things. But you are also a studio painter, and we're just talking about the different styles and just, I guess, the motivations and the way we get into it.
Well, to me, just me personally, the process is you start somewhere. You look at the canvas, right, and you start going. And me personally, I don't know where it's going to take me. I try different things. A lot of times I start drawing figures or colors or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think, not to get metaphysical, but
That's okay.
I think we're all channeled from a higher source.
Oh, we are. No
Excellent.
question.
Right? Mark and I have talked about this. Mark and I have traveled many planets.
I'm not necessarily buying you this, but I'm not
No.
denying it either.
Okay. I just stopped by because I was told that you needed people to stop by.
It's good to have you drop by. We're glad. Down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery, you will see Lee and Phoebe and Susan working here and Jean, and just it's a great working environment. It's nice to come in and see somebody in process, but also to see so many different styles, such quality of work regardless of the style. I mean, it's really, and like I said, the energy here, when I walk in, which is 5 times a week, the hair on my arm stands up. It's like hearing that favorite song. I mean, it lights me up.
Well, I saw a documentary not too long ago by some filmmakers that are very successful. And they said, what is the number one,
I'm just checking what's going on out here. Sorry, I don't even.
what is, what would you find the key to success? and it's chemistry. And I think what goes on in this gallery is we're all artists, we're all non-competitors,
Yeah.
because we're all
Yeah.
supporting each other, and I think the chemistry.
On guard.
And is this a dance of some?
No.
Because
Yeah.
I can
She was
sing.
competing with you.
The
Right.
chemistry is amazing of what's going on here, and the energy is amazing.
It's very supportive.
Yep.
It's very gentle. You know, it's respectful. It's great.
You know.
I do think it's magnifying. I mean, you know, like you said, you know, your success is my success. I mean,
Yeah.
this gallery is an incredible place. No people know about it. The more people that have a chance to come in here, truly, it's a feast for the eyes. I mean,
Yes.
it's somebody says like Disney World for the eyes. And I truly think it is. I was going to say something that was.
So
course.
profound.
Yeah, you know, no, I mean, you know, whether it's sunrises, I mean, what you can't replace is my technique, which is, you know, inherent to my learning,
Yeah.
and my mind's eye. So I mean, you know, we could all sit down and paint the same thing, and they're all going to look different because of our inherent
Absolutely.
backgrounds and our mind's eye and
Absolutely.
our technique.
And isn't that great?
I think
mean,
it's
that's
incredible.
what it's all about.
I really do.
Yeah, it's very special, and I think it's something that is rare. You know, you would think that would be in many, many places, and I don't think that's the case. I see the competitiveness in this field, and we don't find it here.
No,
I have
Yeah.
not found it at all.
I went to Lake Worth, and I saw your alligator, and I was so happy. Oh, I know her, right? And then I went down the street. I saw Amy's piece. Oh, I know her.
Excellent.
Want us all to do well and be successful in what we do.
Exactly.
So, I just stopped by.
I'm glad you did.
And what is she doing?
She's actually demonstrating her techniques. And, she was actually recreating basically a piece and showing how she was drawing this work out of a medium field. I mean, really.
Well, when I was very young, I had a hernia operation, and they gave me ether. And I remember this scene.
Distinctly, huh?
I'll let you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I have
Good
the
to see you,
title
Amy.
for my new masterwork.
Excellent.
The hernia operation.
Yes. Just call it hernia.
you
Don't
go.
need to go any further.
Hernia.
Hernia.
It's a very, it's an
funny.
ancient town.
Well, as I said, we're down at the heart of Delray Gallery, 1440 North Federal in Delray Beach, and it's an incredible place. 11,000 square feet of space, 75 plus artists. Susan McKenna List. Phoebe, Dean?
Phoebe Dean Perry.
I'll say a few things as I'm painting. It's coming to me that I'm squinting all the time, which people may not realize. Yes, that you have to keep squinting so you just see the lights and the darks and not torture over a stroke at this point in any case. And the other interesting fact that the brushes have long handles so that as you mature and progress, you can work your way down.
Further
to the
away you
edge
get,
of
the
handle,
better.
right?
Too
Yeah.
funny. That's
Well,
hilarious.
it's true. And,
I bet.
and when you see on TV, they say, well, buy this or that, and this artist, and they're like, this. You say, no, that hasn't been happening a long time. So,
Right.
yeah,
Very true.
and you know, so then you end up working pretty much from your shoulder.
Interesting.
And it's a different,
Very.
different thing.
I
So
do
I
the
work
same
flat.
thing.
For this stage.
Yeah.
And you work flat.
I do.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, I like working on these.
Well, you
but,
must splash a lot of stuff. then. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I don't, I use synthetic pigment that it actually, yeah. You know, it's funny. I have people say, "Do you mind me touching your work?" My work is I'm very tactile, so I mean, the idea of touching my work is absolutely permissible to me. I guess 1,000 years from now, someone restoring my great masterpiece might say, "Oh gosh, look at the oily fingerprints that were left on this." But that's not going to happen in my lifetime. So you know, I like the things. It's Mark. It's Dan, the man, the myth, the legend. Again, down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery for Art Walk, and you need to make plans to be down here. If you're not, there's wine, there's great conversation, music in the background, wonderful artwork, great people. Why aren't you here?
We have a title for the painting. It's the ancient city of Hernia.
I see that. I definitely see that.
Lee was telling us how when he had a
That
hernia
is
operation,
so
he was on
excellent.
ether, and he saw that.
I love that.
Lee Berlin, he popped in. And
He had a hernia operation.
he had a hernia operation when he was younger, and he had ether. No, he saw this. And so, therefore, now it's hernia.
So he wasn't suspended from the ceiling looking at himself?
Well, it was not an out-of-body experience. You say you're done?
We want me to
All right.
sing?
Phoebe, thank you so much for coming in. And we're delighted
That's
to-
Phoebe Perry. Let's give her a round of applause for Phoebe Perry. Yeah.
Bye, Phoebe.
Thank you for coming, Phoebe. Come back again.
15 minutes.
I'll see you tomorrow.
15 minutes. Can I wrap it up? I don't think so.
Well, I found that I don't talk and work like that real well. Dan, what do you want to say about this wonderful gallery?
It's wonderful. What do you want me to say? I'm just watching Susan's strokes.
I used to do Wiggles.
Are you?
I'm
Is it like
not so much Wiggles
a?
anymore.
Is it like an orchestra? Is that kind of like a conductor? You're like, da-na-na-na-na,
I think so. And I'm painting without music,
that?
but I can tell what music was playing with each
That's
of my
what we're
paintings.
gonna do. Where's the camera?
Hi, camera's there. Yeah.
Hello?
Next art walk, Susan will be painting to Beethoven. We're gonna
That's
play
right.
music, and that's how the strokes
Actually-
have to be with your hand. You got to follow the music. Whatever you create, you create.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Right?
Hey, you can tell.
One of my
Different music for different paintings.
One of my
Come on
painting-
in. Let's go.
One of my
we got a
painting
crowd.
teachers
Come on
actually,
in.
over the course of 8 weeks, did play different music over the course of many weeks. So, played some light jazz, played classical, played pop music, and then asked us, it's unbeknownst to us. It was purely
Well, the
background.
studio I had in the Bay Area, my studio mate and I, we would start a painting about the same time, and we'd agree. We'd just play the same thing over and over and over again because the painting ends up picking up the rhythm of the music.
Wait, hold
You
on. We
can't
have someone
take-
here with us who's looking at
Good.
your painting. Hi, what's your name?
Hi.
Margot.
Margot, where you
Hi,
from?
Margot.
Stanford.
Stanford, all right. Flew all the way down just for art walk at the Heart of Delray Gallery.
That's right.
Susan List is painting here. She's painting
is.
something called what is it called? The spleen? What is this?
No, the spleen. It's the ancient city of Hernia.
There we go. Somebody came up with that. Hi, sir. How are you?
This
Where
is-
you from?
This is what?
This is my 8x10.
Okay, Stanford.
A little plein air 8x10, yes.
Welcome. Thanks for coming
And-
down.
Well, this is an oil. I'm playing with in acrylic tonight. I wasn't.
Live TV.
Yeah. So I've wanted to do this one large, so that's what's happening.
Do you have one that's under, I'm thinking of the right person.
Oh, in work in progress. That's mine in the studio. Yes.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you very
What
much.
was the original?
I don't know how long we're. how
The
long we on for?
original
Another 15 minutes?
is.
Your picture, your reference.
Well, I can
10
show
minutes.
you after we go off air, but it was a photo from a New York flower market, and a very chaotic kind of scene. And I
The Macy's flower market?
no, it's actually on 42nd Street at about 10th. There's a market that sells groceries, flowers, and so I took a bunch of photos at that
And then you're
market.
just grabbing a piece of it for the reference?
Well, what I did was I have it on the iPad, and I just kind of put it there, but I don't follow it verbatim.
Right.
I'm
So
more.
this
This
is
is
one
one
that
of my.
you've
This is one of my paintings.
You're
Yes.
just gonna. you're just
And I've
working
wanted to do it large, and I'm kind of trying to find my way around, and keep what appeals to me about this, what makes this one work, and get that down here, and then it becomes its own fellow.
So what was the reference for that? Was there a reference? Oh,
This-
this was another thing.
This,
Yeah.
this was my husband and I going across the Hillsborough Bridge, and the sun setting, and you can't really see a horizon. You just get blinded, and everything is silhouetted. So I remembered it. I've been painting on location long enough now that I went home and sat down, and thick paint just painted it as I remembered. And it has the effect that I wanted, and I like it. This is way too red the photo is too red. But once I get this established, I'll glaze over this with other blues to get it to tone down a little bit.
I'm just a beginning.
Sure, no problem.
What's the glaze? The glaze you're using?
Again, we're down here at the
I'll
Heart of
just
Delray
use
Gallery.
where you
water,
going?
and I don't
Deanna?
use
We have art
medium.
walk every first
I
Friday.
use it kind of like
6 to 9
watercolor.
p.m.
So I'm
It's,
mostly an oil
It's an
painter.
incredible place. People
But,
stumble in here, and
but-
particularly now that we've painted the outside walls,
Where's my reference? Where's my
and come in here because they've just drawn here, and it's amazing the reaction. I mean, this truly is a
Well,
very
thank you.
unique gallery. I think it's unlike
It's
any other in the world.
energetic.
This is
It is
an interesting
a
reference? If you
awesome place to be. you
Well,
need to come down first Friday of
you
every
have-
month. Come
really-
down to the Heart of
you
Delray
have to
Gallery,
take your own
1440
photos.
North Federal Highway.
And
join in the crowd, come here, watch the artists, paint, do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
Right, Mark?
Absolutely.
It's Mark.
Yep.
Right. So you don't use any, I've been seeing
I know
some
that
people here
we
never
have what,
shined
probably
in
300
or
people here tonight. If you
yeah.
want a more
I don't
intimate,
know what that
come
is.
down during the middle of the week, and you'd be surprised just how
use a lot of
how many people are down here,
Oh, yeah,
and just the
Golden is
intimacy
great.
and the
I'm
really
doing?
the camaraderie.
Well, they use resin.
I think it, you know,
Or-
so
or
much
high-
of
or
any
high
sales
gloss
is about
varnish.
chemistry.
Using resin. So
I think when you get a
resin
chance
is
to meet the
something you
artists
buy
and
and
talk
put
with them,
over
it makes you fall in love with their work even
Puts
more.
resin on
Absolutely,
his
absolutely. That's 300 divided by 2 plus 50. That's the amount of people we had here
There
tonight.
you go. Whoa.
It's like
Sorry.
a coating
Yep, that's all right.
resin.
What happened, Susan? You got scared?
Nah, I think you're fine.
It was the hernia.
I have
Oh.
the hernia. Okay, we'll put it in.
Margot, what do you think, Margot?
Well, I love it.
You
I
good?
asked her where she's getting her idea.
So, well,
But I don't know
most
anything
of it
about
comes-
resin. I should learn.
but we don't necessarily need resin, but
Sometimes resin's interesting.
But the reason I can do this now is because I've spent about 20 years painting out on location. So now I have kind of the data bank and the vocabulary. In fact, I can see that now since, maybe I should be talking now, since moving here, spending a few years really looking at the ocean, I can look at a painting and know who knows the ocean and who doesn't.
That's it, just by really learning.
Because, just really learning how to see and really starting to understand.
But you use oil. You don't use oil
Well,
and.
now I'm doing both. It depends
Oil,
on my
acrylic.
mood, it depends on the painting. I don't like this, I shouldn't say I don't like this brush because these manufacturers are very nice. But I don't like the hard edge that this brush is leaving. It's such a soft brush.
What kind of
Yeah,
brushes
but-
do you use?
Generally, I use Isabey. They're French bristle.
I use Conair.
There you go. I like
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I like it.
Conair. That's what I use.
Michael's so hard.
you tell?
I learned that.
Yeah, something like that, right?
I have
Well,
to go to
yeah,
Jerry's.
we'll let you continue painting, and so glad you guys stopped in. Yeah, wonderful to have you guys here.
All right.
Yep.
You're flying back to Stanford tonight?
No, we're here for 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, we're in Delray.
Wow, all right.
Want to have at it?
Snowbirds.
What? No, we could become permanent.
Permanence. You're on your way to permanent.
Tell me your name again.
Margot.
Margot,
So
get a
what's
brush.
this? This
Get a
oh,
brush,
it's from
get some blue.
Oh, it's okay. I just want to see.
All
I
right.
need
Margot,
to get
take
a nice
part.
big-
Join in, Susan. There's no charge for these lessons. Don't worry.
Here we go. Come on.
I know we talked.
It's complimentary.
I know we talked. Michelle said something about maybe doing a piece of artwork that everybody here had a hand in on for the next art walk. Do something that was stylistically.
Now you sound like the IRS. They always have to have their hands in
No
everything.
kidding,
What do you
man.
mean we're going to have all the artists?
I'm just
What are you
saying,
talking about?
Michelle had this wild idea, pardon the
You don't
whistle,
like this purple color, I don't think.
about having a canvas and having everybody add their input into it. So a collaboration between all the artists.
So we're going to call it the IRS piece.
Yeah, we might well do
Okay.
that. Too funny.
Get some,
I got
one
the
of
hand and everything.
That's one of the joys about live radio is when you have this kind of energy and this many people and this kind of energy here, it's hard to predict what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
That's
I,
true.
I,
It's true.
I think I heard the pool.
The pool.
Are people jumping in the pool?
This is a lot of work.
They're out in the pool now, I
We
think.
do have a water feature.
Right.
Have a great outdoor space. I believe that actually you can rent this gallery out for the evening, can't you?
Yes, you can.
And particularly with holidays.
Birthday
around-
parties, holidays, weddings, whatever you like.
Well,
I
this
mean,
is
we could
great
do it
idea.
all here. If you want to have a funeral here, we could have a funeral here if you like. No problem.
If you came down to the Heart of Delray Gallery, you would see this is actually a great meeting place. Period. So you ought to consider it for an event. Not to mention all the wonderful artwork here, the architecture, and just the air of the place is great.
Absolutely.
You know,
Do you know him?
I think we're ticking down, and Susan McKenna List has been our guest tonight. Predominantly, she is working on a piece. One of the resident artists down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery, 1440 North
Just what
Federal.
helps out. She's not an artist.
My name is Mark Freeman, Marion Freeman in the art world. Dan Cianciotto.
Gianciotto.
Cianciotto. Okay, I'm not Italian. I'm sorry. And plus, I have my the oral surgery, so I'm sounding like Cindy Brady. Dan is down here every single day. If it's open, Dan's here.
I am here every single day. No, not Sundays. I'm not here on Sundays. Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Saturdays, 10 to 5.
There you go.
Don't worry, Mark. I am not going to make you be Cindy Brady right now by seashells by the seashore.
I can't.
Can
do
you
it.
try?
No, I won't. It's been great having a chance. We are here at the Brooklyn Cafe studio which is part of the Heart of Delray Gallery. It's really the Heart of Delray.
Oh, we got two more victims. Hi, how are you?
Creative
Welcome.
Center.
How are you? What's going on? You come into the show? You're live on TV here. Hi.
And here's our
What
elf.
is this? Payment? Okay.
Too funny. We've lost control of the show.
Yes.
I
When she
believe.
walks away,
You know what time we were wrapping?
Okay, so what you're doing now.
Again, Heart of Delray Gallery, down in Delray Beach, 1440 North Federal. You need to come check it out. It's truly. I'm lost. Here I am over here. Okay. It's an incredible gallery, wonderful energy. It's something you really need to come down and take advantage of.
Thank you. I'm gonna get some big brushes.
It's Mark. I'm out.
All right, yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna step across the big pardon me here. Well, I think we're.
Thank you.
I gotta get down some.
This is yours. That is me.
How are we doing in terms of time?
Oh, you work this one.
How are we doing in terms of time? We good or?
There's a bunch on the website.
That's why I took it.
Huh? So we got 2 minutes. All right. We're stretching down here for the rest of this hour.
You are terrific.
Again, one of the things that's a joy about this gallery is that we have a director of sales who's trying to get on camera. Michelle Cancro is her name. If you come down the Heart of Delray Gallery, you'll meet some incredible. You're being summoned. Take care. Thank you, sir. Susan. I mean, interesting. In this piece, I actually see, being from East Tennessee, I can see a mountain stream coming through here, and I see this kind of, just in the abstraction aspect of it. I really like, I like where it's going. Part of my issue in doing something like this would be, I would fall in love with this and my idea would change. Well, actually, funny, I will start a piece and Leslie will say, what's the problem? And I said, the canvas has not told me what it is yet. And so, I do think the canvas does kind of exude a certain energy that tells you, what it's wanting to be. Is it on? Is that
Yes,
Dan?
yes, that's true. It does do that. I don't think I'm on. Am I on?
This one isn't. Knock things over here. That is on. No,
It does take on a life of its own. So once, some people really plan things out, like Phoebe was saying, and then others just, like you said, there are a few touchstones, and then I'm going to play with it, and then I'm going to see where I want to go and what I want to do, and have fun.
I actually did an event like this where I was doing a painting, and I probably painted for 2.5 hours, and there's just no way. In my mind, I guess when you're doing a plein air, you actually have an X amount of time to do something, don't you?
Right, and quick draws, and
Yeah.
I've painted at wedding receptions and
Really?
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then generally I'm more prepared than I was today. So,
Michelle
but,
Cancro,
but we had
great
fun.
Hello.
Hey,
What's going on?
well, I think we're wrapping up the show. We're pretty dang close to the end here, and
Isn't it gorgeous?
Beautiful.
Susan's been diligently working as customers have been coming in.
We had some help.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had help,
Yep.
so it's good.
It's been an eventful show. a little different format, but it's been fun nonetheless. Absolutely. Yep.
Very good.
But,
Are we done?
yep, I don't know. And it's Dawn.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very
Yeah, I
much.
believe we're going to have to wrap
Thank
it
you,
up.
everybody.
How do you want to finish this off, Miss Dawn?
I'm going to step out.
Just wrap it? Huh?
Wrap it
All
and
right.
say goodbye.
Well, again, glad that you joined us. Heart of Delray Gallery down here at the Brooklyn Cafe Studio. Come join us again for the next event, January 4th. We have Art Walk the first Friday of every month. Again, Susan McKenna List was your
Thank
painter du jour,
you.
absolutely. And my name is Marion Freeman. I hope you come and see us again and come down to the gallery.
Good
1440
night.
North Federal. Take care. Good night.